Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Secretary and Sergeant at Arms Officer Winter TLI training. My name is Colleen McNeese, and most likely you've been in this role for a few months now. Perhaps you've done this role in the past. Either way, if you're a seasoned officer, you might have questions, thoughts, and ideas. Or if you're new, you also might have those thoughts to share and questions and ideas. Our moderator can provide you in the email, my email in the chat at the beginning of this meeting and at the end. I really would like to hear from you. Let's go over your roles for the secretary first. Your secretary training. Slides are not moving. Oh, here we go. Of course. Secretary roles, responsibility, and the resources that are available to you is very important, of course. So we will begin with identifying your role, fulfilling your responsibilities, and finding those resources that we just talked about. Sometimes, though, if you're like me, I'm a secretary for another club. I've been a president. I've had other roles, but how are other people doing this? It's nice to talk to other secretaries. And because we're doing virtual, it's not as easy. Or finding another club meeting. Do you have a template you use to take notes? Did the past secretary share that tool with you? Or did you have to design your own? It's okay either way. If you have a specific template that you'd like to share, please send it to my email, Colleen_McNeese@yahoo.com, and I'll make sure that I get it out to the others. What kind of things do you document? Voting on new club members? Motions carried or vetoed? And where do you post these minutes? Do you email them to all the club members so they're on top of what has been decided at these executive officer meetings? Or do you place them on a Google Drive for your club members? Perhaps you do both. So many fun things that I've been learning about this role. The secretary's role is an important role. It really keeps the meeting flowing nicely, the executive meetings flowing nicely. It helps the president, the VPE. You're a key person in all of this. Like I said, at the club meeting, outside the club meeting, and those important executive officer meetings. Deciding what's going to happen for my club to the benefit of the club. And what do we mean when we say outside the club meeting? Secretary's responsibilities also carry letting others know, even though it's the vice president of membership's responsibility and VP of public relations to advertise. We are always advertising for our club, special events, Halloween parties. Who knows what'll come up with the holidays? Exciting to share some of those as well. Before the club meeting, what's your role? When you arrive and during the meeting, what is your role? Everyone is, I've seen other clubs. I visited 50 clubs in 50 states, and they do things a little differently. Go to a few other meetings in different clubs, visit them, and steal their ideas like I do. We don't have to recreate the wheel every time. Do you prepare a list of actions for your club presidents or other officers that committed to do things? Do you read your report at the beginning of the next meeting, especially your executive officer meeting, to remind them of open or outstanding action items? Things to think about that I never thought about until I got in this role. Do you have a new business? Do you have new business yourself to bring up at the meeting? Incentives that you might have heard from the district. or that you know to go look at the D3 calendar and find out about open houses. How do you fulfill all your responsibilities? Maintaining that accurate roster. Oh, can't even talk today. Submit your club officer list. Most likely that's been done, but we have changes. Officers may resign for some reason and you fill it with a new officer. These changes need to go to headquarters as well as on your website. There's other possibilities. What if your meeting changes dates, times, locations? A lot of clubs are now doing hybrid meetings, or they've gone back to total in-person meetings. You want to ensure that the VP of PR has the updated websites, Facebook, Twitter, D3, and of course, like I said, headquarters knows. Handle your correspondence, keeping those important records. The club's files, are they updated? We did an inventory of our club last month. What's in that storage box? Because we're now, like I said, meeting hybrid. You need an inventory for the next person that comes and fulfills your roles. Are you starting to groom that person? Getting ahead of myself because we went over some of this, but that's all right. Make amendments on those notes. Forgot that key point. Because if there's changes in the current meeting, you want to record that as well. Oh yes, please attend those executive officer meetings when possible. But what if you can't? What if you miss a meeting because you've got a dental appointment or something comes up? Do you have someone in mind in the club that could take those notes for you? You might be grooming your successor. So that's also fun. You're a key person to vote at the international business meeting. The secretary carries the power of vote, along with the president and the VP of membership at times. You facilitate the member in base camp. Have you had that tool? There's a wonderful base camp thing in Toastmasters, a booklet that tells you, how do I run base camp? How do I help back up the president or the VP of education if someone passed a level? Have you moved one yet? It's kind of fun to do that, helping your other club members. We already talked a couple times about arranging for your replacement. Training them now, keeping great records so they know what is their role. They don't have to reinvent the wheel if it's already there. But preparing that successor, I'm going to go over and over that on how important that is. Always remember when you're taking notes, the who, when, what, where, why. That way you can fulfill your responsibility. So much better sharing things with others. That is why I encourage you to reach out to a secretary from another club. When we held the TLIs in person, the secretaries were all in one room, and that made it easy to really share notes. But now we do a lot of it by email. I can't run to Tucson and check with that secretary, but I have her email. When is each action to be completed? Put a timeline on events and things. If they don't do that in your meeting, they're saying they want to have an open house, make sure you have a timeline for events. And look around the room. There's other people available to help you. What materials and resources could you use? Could you share? It doesn't hurt to record, like I've recorded this video for you. Record your meetings. Recording your meetings lets people see how they did when they were speaking. I do not like to see myself on camera. A lot of people probably don't. But it's really important if you've given a speech and you want to polish it for a contest to record that. We kind of went through the who, what, when, where, and why. How do you fulfill your responsibilities as a secretary? There's an action plan. I use Google a lot. Google, the Toastmasters International, get those action plans. We talked about what resources are available to you. If you can't find it, reach out to me. I'll help you find it. Or if I don't know, I always either, like I said, use Google or use other people filling this role or that have filled it to ask. I didn't even know to post our secretary notes on the Google Drive, but that was a great learning. I like learning new things. So keep learning new things. Attend this training and other district sponsor officer training. I see some out there on the D3 calendar. Read your materials. I don't have to read these notes to you. Meet with the current executive committee. That's one thing. I meet with them ahead of time and say, what do you have? What do you want? What do you need before the meeting if you can? Sometimes the president even asks me to put the agenda together for the officer meeting. It's one way of helping each other, as we, as Toastmasters, like to do. Do you need any new additional materials? The gift shop is now open. And if you have any gift certificates that you won through the D3 events, it's a great way to spend that money ordering maybe visitor welcome packets to new members. There's a lot of great tools out there on the website. Here are some of those additional resources I was telling you about. If you wanted a guest book, most clubs have one, but there's also an electronic one. If you need that, let me know. Use of all the Toastmaster materials is all these sites right here. And I'm giving you a chance to take a picture of this website if you'd like. This slide, I mean. So then you have those websites. But just go browse around in the gift shop. You'll see all kinds of things for your upcoming contests, resources. There's just so much out there in the world that you just can't get over it. Here is your Sergeant at Arms training. This is a role that I really enjoyed, especially when we met in person. It's changed, hasn't it? Changed since we're doing hybrids. How has yours changed for your club? Please reach out to me again. Let me know. Sergeant at Arms, you've been doing this job for a little while. If you're a hybrid club, do you start, record, run the chat, monitor the chat? Do you put people in breakout rooms when you're voting in new members? This role has changed. Your responsibilities have changed. I'd like to know how in your club it's changed. Again, we'll identify your role. How do you fulfill your responsibilities? And how do you find those wonderful resources to help you? Sergeant at Arms role is an important role, especially with contest season coming up. Will you be put in a breakout room with the contestants, bringing one in at a time? How's your club going to do this? The club meeting, what do you do at the club meeting? You set the room up before the meeting? You clean the room up? We always want to leave a place as nice or better than we found it. That's what my dad always told me, is you leave it in better shape and they'll welcome you back. Especially if you have if you're lucky enough to have a free location. That's amazing. What is your role outside the club meeting? And what is your role in the executive committee meeting? Like I said, before the club meetings, you have to clean that, set the room up, make sure that you have all the materials for the meeting, the lectern, the gavel. Maybe your room provides water. I don't know what your hybrid or in-person or total virtual meeting requires. But I'm pretty sure by this time you do. You're getting into the swing of this. Do you reserve the room? We talked about making sure there's enough club supplies. This is where the secretary and the sergeant at arms work together to do an inventory. What supplies do you have? Again, I'm going to advertise, if you weren't here for the secretary piece, the gift shop is open. If you have money to spend, you may need some supplies. Head to that gift shop and have fun. Arrange the room meeting early. It's nothing more scattered when you get into the room and everybody's trying to set it up because you didn't have it set up. But what if you can't be there? Did you appointed someone to assist you, to help you out? We had a member that broke his arm as our sergeant at arms, and he appointed someone else to help him. And it's always so nice to have that promotional materials. If a visitor comes, they have great visitor packets at the gift shop. Promotional materials. Maybe they want to take some things back to their boss, their company, finding out more about Toastmasters. Make sure to put those table and chairs back when you're done. The room temperature. Have you ever walked into a room and it's too hot or too cold? You can see that. We're pretty used to that. In our club, because we're a hybrid meeting, if the guests sign the guest book and our vice president of membership is not there, our sergeant at arms takes a picture of the book and sends it to him so he has all the information he needs to contact that guest after the meeting. Late arrivals do happen. You just welcome them and coordinate food service. Wow, we get donuts because we're a morning meeting once in a while. And there's no coordinating. Well, there is coordinating, but take that back. They communicate with each other because sometimes there'll be 3 people bringing it and we cannot eat all that. Our sergeant at arms is responsible for collecting the ballots. But if you're hybrid, they send it in the chat privately to that person. And in the room, we still have the little notes. So we have it covered. But our sergeant at arms does the tally and hands it to the president to announce the winners. Return the room to that original configuration. Pack up and store all the materials if you're lucky enough to have a place in the facility that you're using. If not, I know there's sometimes we have to carry things back and forth and clean up all trash. We don't want to leave a mess for anyone, of course. What if you have to schedule those meetings outside the club? What if you're hosting to a company a mock meeting? Those are fun. You would be responsible for scheduling it, making sure you have the supplies, and attend the executive committee meeting to say before what you're up to, how you're getting it prepared, and after what was done and the results. Maybe you're setting up a booth for some event where they've offered you a free table to advertise Toastmasters. Maybe you want to order some balloons from the gift shop to do this for the group. All these things can be advertised at the executive officers committee meetings. Again, arranging your replacement. Start working now to find out who is a new member that might want to try this role. It's a fun role. It's really get your feet into the leadership part further and prepare that successor. Keep your notes. What did you do? What did you find out that was new, exciting, that you can share, that they might want to try? I like the way people have new ideas and exchange things. Update the executive office committee on the club's meeting workplace space status. What if it's changed? Since COVID, a lot has changed. Is the music too loud in the restaurant you were working in? Can you find another place? This has been difficult to find for a lot of people, but it's coming back. Chair and social and reception committee. That might be fun. Now that's something I haven't done yet. Giving me ideas. Let me know yours, please. Again, replace items as needed. When you start running low, and I know the gift shop's been closed for a long time, ribbons. I don't know if you do trophies for your little club when you have your contests. Just depends on what you need and what your budget is, of course, working with finance. Same thing, the how, when, what, who, and where. I think where's been left out of this, but location we just spoke about, and that's important. Are you having your contest? I think most of the contests, I believe, they are all virtual this year to keep it fair. How are you fulfilling? Not how will you, but you've already been doing this role for a little while, unless you've taken over for someone else. How are you going to fulfill your responsibilities? Make a timeline. When is it going to be complete? Each action. And who in that room is available to help you? What materials and resources can you use? If there's something you don't have, I can help you find it. Let me know. Or, again, reach out to other Sergeant at Arms. Visit other clubs. See what they're doing. Tap those resources. Keep a checklist. I was doing the Sergeant at Arms for a contest, a district contest in Denver at one time. And there were resources I did not realize that we needed for a contest. Did you know people were not supposed to wear their name badges for contests? I learned a lot, but there's a contest rule book. And I know there's a lot of training going on the D3 website if you're helping with a contest. But make yourself a checklist of just things that we've ticked off today. If you want these slides, let me know. You're fully welcome to have them. Attend any district-sponsored training that you can. Read everything you can get your hands on because Sergeant at Arms is changing. Maybe you can help tell us what's changed in your club. Meet with the outgoing executive committee. Meet with the outgoing Sergeant at Arms. Mentorship is so important. It's critical that you share what you did. How many times did somebody finish a role and say, done, walk away? And they do not help their successor. It's very frustrating. Mentorship is something I really believe in education. My background was in teaching. And yeah, I can't get enough. I like learning new things. I like sharing ideas. Meet with the current executive committee that you probably already are doing. And when you go to a different space, introduce yourself. Introduce yourself to any room, even the janitor. They're all important people that help when we're doing a Toastmasters meeting. Ask for volunteers to assist you. Again, we never know what's going to happen in life. Do you have a plan B? Do you have a backup? Someone to help you? Toastmasters are all so helpful to each other. And they'd probably be honored that you asked. These are some resources. I was telling you about some additional things. Google is a wonderful tool. Usually brings you to the Toastmasters International website. But sometimes it takes you to some other district has done something and you can look at it and say, maybe I want to incorporate that or try it. It might work and you may not want to use it. There's so many resources out there for you. And of course, the district is there for you as well. So anything we can do to help, reach out, please ask. And we're always there for you. And that concludes this session of the Sergeant at Arms training